and theoretically the Morgana as well. So they didn't really need to worry about that one. Sejuani adding a little bit there as well. So an opportunity to go towards an AD mid laner.
This is honestly a spot that's very interesting where Griffin didn't try to choose a long-range sort of sustain mage in a spot like this. So that is very bizarre. Now they're choosing an AD champion because they don't want to all get funneled in to dealing lots of magic damage. But the problem is that Qiyana doesn't really do a whole lot.
The thing I like about the Qiyana is that she wants to build lethality, and now the enemy team is going to be building a fair bit of magic resist into, you know, things like the Soraka and things like that. But I guess MF still exists, so maybe that's not going to be as much of the point.
It's so bizarre of a Qiyana pick. There's so many other 80 champions that you could pick here. And now Qiyana's going to find herself in a counter matchup against the Ornn. The long-range mage goes top lane. We mentioned this at the very start of the broadcast, that typically you can try to fight Soraka with long-range mages. And Viktor is one of those champions. Syndra, another one that is actually very good against her.
And this is another Griffin comp, or another Soraka comp, that has no teleports on it whatsoever.
Yeah.
So not going to be able to maneuver around the map as comfortably as this game goes on. Now that these lanes have panned out the way that they have, we saw the Viktor utilized into the Soraka once before. It didn't work. Still managed to lose that game. So I don't know whether they've necessarily ticked the boxes required in order to deal with this Soraka composition, but Soraka has lost before, albeit in a very different scenario, being placed on the bottom side as opposed to the top. Let's see whether Griffin can pilot this on to a win, because Sword has found himself on the most overpowered champion of the patch. Can they get themselves over the line with it?
Really surprising that we knew that Jarvan could end up being a problem. We said it before we even entered into the second part of the ban phase.
Yep.
And then they banned Lucian Aatrox, two champions that are actually losing to Soraka, and thematically lose out to her as well when paired with the B1, B2, B3 of DAMWON. So, very bizarre there. And then they choose the Sejuani instead of stealing the Jarvan, but had they stole the Jarvan Cataclysm plus Soraka E, you're just dead.
It is just
free. You are absolutely dead.
You also just may as well let the Jarvan do it for you, to be perfectly honest. Isn't too much of an issue there, because you can use the opposing Jarvan's Cataclysm against him. Viper doesn't find the double up there. I was expecting it. Maybe hasn't actually skilled that button just yet. Canyon moves on over, looks for this red steal as the pings come out instantly. Tarzan's beelining over.
Yeah, he's doing red to red, but because the Qiyana has absolutely no priority, Tarzan's going to just have to give it up. And interestingly, ShowMaker taking Spellbook in this matchup. Not going to be going Grasp, even though there is a lot of squishies on the enemy team. You can try to get some Grasp procs. Also utilize the Resolve tree very well against the Qiyana and try to lane Kingdom her. But obviously the Spellbook will provide a little bit more utility in the later stages of the game, having access to Exhaust and Ignite.
Yep.
Both of which are really good.
Can go hyper aggressive in this lane. And can also, having access to Ignite, even in the laning phase, is going to be pretty important here for Nuguri, because you can then have access to the Grievous Ruins before the Morellonomicon is able to be purchased. Of course, a luxury item that does cost a whole lot of gold. That's why we often have a few issues with it. The old Forbidden Book. I don't know whether you guys are aware of it, but we're not a massive fan of the Morellonomicon, but it might just be necessary up against this Soraka.
Let's see Sword trying to layer it so that he can get all the CS.
Yeah, and he's going to miss all of it. Oh no, gets one of them. Never mind. Going to be okay. Tarzan looking for a gank bottom side though, as Viper taking a lot of damage. It's a great bait from Griffin here, as Nuclear has to flash to get out of the way. Battle Dance, I believe, is on cooldown as the Dark Binding lands. The Nuclear trying to offer enough damage back to keep Hoyt alive. Heal utilized. And Hoyt held onto it for a very long time, and that gank is going to be unsuccessful.
And so they end up getting the flash out of Nuclear, heal out of Hoyt, as Sword trading really hard here against Nuguri as the camera pans up to top lane. He's almost going to be able to heal back to full HP, going to get that CS as well.
I mean, if he starts landing these Qs, then it is going to make it so much easier for the Soraka. If you see her at low health but high mana, that is great news. As Ucal picks up some grass, makes himself a hidey hole, and is going to survive the gank attempt there from Canyon.
Canyon shoves out the mid lane with ShowMaker, absorbing a lot of the CS XP as well, and doesn't stay for the second one. So a little bit bizarre. This is going to actually slow down ShowMaker a bit. Nuguri up there in top lane, trying to cast and wither down Sword on that Soraka. And Sword is completely fine because he knows that Jarvan can't come top. Things are getting a bit dicey with his HP, but he's going to be just fine.
Nuguri didn't have the mana, otherwise he'd be flashing right on top of the Soraka right here, but backs are going to be agreed upon, and Nuguri's going to get into that lane much faster than Sword is able to, considering the lack of teleport. Oh, of course, you know, the flash would have been countered by the Baron, of course, so used to top laners only having access to the teleport, but never mind, he had that extra layer of security available to him. But look, you can see 10 CS advantage here for Nuguri. Experience lead as well, as he's going to hit level 6 first over everyone in the game. At least when this minion wave does turn up. Now Viper looking for it, but Canyon's going to be here as well. Irove, a very early flash there, and then Viper going to have to use his as well. Not enough black shields, but also not enough distance on that grand entrance, meaning that DAMWON aren't able to find a first blood either.
They end up getting a very good trade-off, though. Getting a lot of key abilities, and Canyon, I think, just saw Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
As ShowMaker has level 6. Hoyt and Nuclear have the option to rotate over to the Dragon. And this Qiyana losing in priority.
He's going to be able to get into this brush here as the Dragon is low, but Ucal just straight up misses the supreme display of talent. The Ornn is going to land. The Qiyana just falls flat on her face. Not sure what that was. Seems like a misclick, but it was definitely a disaster.
And this is going to mean that DAMWON gets a really big advantage. Getting the Mountain Dragon when you have the Ornn, you have the Jarvan, and the enemy has a Qiyana who wants to build lethality is really big. It takes away a lot of value from that lethality. We take a look at what Ucal is trying to do here. As there's a wave in front of his turret, this is a really awkward timing. He flashes onto Nuclear, but they're never achieving anything in a million years. You don't have Soraka here, even though you have her ultimate and spirit.
Yeah, I really don't see what the... Yep. Still perplexed as to what the thought process was there. Because I would have thought that the supreme display of talent should have gone into a wall, which is where you're able to actually get the damage and everything. You know, all of this stuff.
You need to slow down there, Alice.
Okay.
Dial it back a notch.
Okay.
All right.
I apologize.
Yeah, no big deal.
All right.
No big deal. Any movies coming out soon?
Well, I mean, other than Sonic, I got nothing really. I kind of want to watch Parasite again. It's back in the cinemas here in Korea. Celebrate its Oscars victory. Managed to pick up. Yeah, English subtitles available in select showings. Absolutely.
Okay.
So that might be cool.
All right.
But otherwise, you know, not too much. I've been rewatching Suits.
Oh, I never saw the last season.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it yet, so I'm just watching the whole series again and getting reacquainted.
Very excited, though. The Walking Dead returns. Now, a lot of people are probably resident sleeper Walking Dead who's watched that since season whatever. But there is one reason to still watch it, and that is Negan.
Yeah, Negan's just amazing. So. I actually haven't watched, what is it? Is season 9? That's out, right?
Yeah, we're in season 10.
Yeah, so I haven't actually seen season 9
yeah,
yet.
you need to watch.
I need to watch that.
Well, that's... So you get... Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to watch it for Negan. And then you need to keep watching.
Yeah.
For Negan. That's pretty much it.
I mean, that's my plan. I was already watching for Negan in season 8, so never mind. Tarzan, though, he might need to watch where he's positioned on this map as ShowMaker, possibly able to close in, now dealing with the minion wave, but Tarzan, I don't think, is going to be able to stop Canyon from taking away Shelly here in spite range. And Canyon's going to pick her up and take her to one of these lanes. This DAMWON, I mean, it did feel like they got outdrafted right now they are not getting outplayed. So it feels like Griffin have slightly outplayed themselves in this early phase of the game.
Well, nothing really happening. But DAMWON, they've managed to accrue themselves a 1.2 thousand gold lead. Nuguri going to get himself another plate here. He's also riding Sword quite a bit in CS, but it's not the end of the world. Soraka lanes tend to actually be evaluated on about a 30 to 40 CS deficit when she's in a ranged or a difficult matchup.
Yep. And this is certainly one of the matchups that, at least here in Korea, we do consider very difficult for the Soraka. So not one of those normal situations where you're expecting this Soraka lane to just be obnoxious right from the get-go. It's more about what she offers in a team fight as the game continues. The Grand Entrance comes in, but the Grand Exit is towards the Death Chamber. There for Hoyt, nowhere to go, no options. He used heal for some reason. Not going to keep him alive as Bullet Time flew over the top and absolutely destroyed the Rakan.
And that's a nice little pickup for Griffin, and if they can end up being in control by the time this Infernal Dragon ends up coming up, it's going to be a really good thing for them.
Yep, we have, once again, an opportunity for an Ocean Drake and an Ocean Rift. My favorite, as I've said multiple times. But also, Cloud Rift could be upon us as well. Certainly not a favorite for anyone, really.
And Nuguri, up in top lane, he rushed his Hex Core completely.
Yeah, before even getting
as
boots.
Iceborne Gauntlet is actually just going to be the first item for ShowMaker.
There's the supreme display of talent. That's the one that you actually wanted. Is now Ucal going to dive back in again. Ornn coming down as Ucal gets out of position. That's a great Black Shield. Fantastic work from Irove, of course, formerly Cabby. For Griffin, fantastic play. Keeps Ucal alive.
Soraka, I think, needs to just actually abandon top lane right now and run to the Infernal Dragon. Because with ShowMaker having his ultimate on cooldown, this is a really good opportunity for Griffin to try to take a team fight. And
also, Nuguri then backs away, teleports to the Drake, and that's going to confirm it for DAMWON if they want to pick that one up. As Shelly comes down in the mid lane, they're going to take away a whole bunch of plates here as well, as Tarzan's trying to get rid of Canyon from this turret. Actually taking a lot of damage there as Canyon. Means they're going to have to abandon. Not able to pick up the last couple of plates in this turret just yet, or break open first turret of the game. As Ucal thinks that it might be his time to get towards this river and try and start something. Doesn't have his ultimate available. But he does have a few dashes and some opportunities to really run amok. Looks like that first play hasn't deterred Ucal. Playing with gusto.
Well, they are starting the Infernal Dragon. If they can pick this up, this is a really big victory for them.
Yeah, it looks like DAMWON are not interested in taking this whatsoever. They took the first one, but unable to grab the second, and it is going to be Ocean Soul.
Yet again.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see who can start getting the Ocean Dragons. Remember, Soraka team compositions start spiking once Soraka starts getting into the mid game.
Yep.
Starts getting more of her healing items or just tankiness as well and starts grouping. So we're not even at that phase yet. But ShowMaker doing a pretty good job in the CS department. Also has some plates to his name as well. Ucal has managed to keep up really well.
Yeah, despite everything.
Considered.
Yeah, absolutely. Now has himself a serrated Dirk and his mobility boots on top of his Tiamat. So sort of the first step to being able to be the Qiyana that you want to be. So Tiamat being able to clear out a lane, some lethality to try and one-shot some of the squishies, and of course mobility boots to get around the map and get in positions to really affect this. Now what they need to do is open up the map and create opportunities where Ucal can cause a ruckus. Whether he'll actually be able to do so effectively is the big question, of course, because Canyon will be very tanky. ShowMaker's already tanky, and there will be things like stopwatches being picked up in the nick of time. And with Fettis, that was a whoopsie.
That was, I mean, he missed 3.
Yeah.
Let's not.
That was a Galio
just
charge.
Pretend,
He did a Justice Punch instead of a Searing Charge, and then forgot that he doesn't have access to that particular ability. As Ucal, he might get knocked up here as the Ram has been called. Ucal, another Black Shield. Pretty fantastic there from Irove. And that is going to dissipate all of the aggression.
So they only have to trade it. Well, I mean, they do trade a flash there. ShowMaker does use his ultimate, but because he rushed Iceborne Gauntlet, he's going to have a lot of CDR. And just hit rank 11.
This top lane out of turret is just going to go down, by the way. Nuguri will just take that one by himself. All right, that is a bullet time make it rain combo there from Viper. This has become very popular. I think it was Teddy who I saw use it first. Just throw it out, get them slowed, and just chunk out a whole bunch of their health bar. It wasn't exactly a gigantic amount, but now Ucal is going to try and take this one. That was not the ultimate, by the way. It was just a Q. So we'll buy some space for ShowMaker, but Tarzan's here just to collect these minions, and it looks like Griffin have done a great job of coordinating where this map is open and covering up the holes. So good recovery thus far. Still, it is a gold lead that continues to increase for DAMWON, and they're looking to continue that. They move towards Shirley.
And we'll see what this gold lead ends up actually meaning for them, as it is only about 2,500 right now, which I don't think is realistically that sizable, all things considered, with the team compositions.
Especially considering 7 plates going down in favor of DAMWON. Nuguri continuing to put on even more pressure. Tarzan hasn't been towards the top side, hasn't actually needed to do anything here for Sword. It has led to a 40 CS gap, but Soraka will be Soraka no matter what you do.
No, one of the really sad things here is that Nuguri is building into Lichbane, I assume.
Yeah.
Most likely not Iceborne Gauntlet. And what that's going to mean is Nuguri no Ornn item, Canyon no Ornn item. There's no ornaments to go around. This is a very lonely Santa.
What about Trinity Force Viktor?
Oh.
Yeah.
You know, I am a fan of Trinity Force.
I know you are.
Trinity Force Atrox.
He's got an auto attack reset.
We call it Tritrox.
Tritrox?
Yeah.
Atrix? No. Okay. Atrix wasn't a good one.
It's pronounced Atrox.
Trockers.
Atrox, okay.
Oh, Ucal is pronounced safe at this point. He's getting pretty close to pronounced dead. But not going to be the case. DAMWON unable to lock him down, and very slippery is the Qiyana. Terror shaping around the rift there, has collected some grass. But it's not going to be enough to clear out that minion wave. Collects another one. Still not enough. Tarzan was in position, but 2 versus 3 was never going to happen.
Sunfire Cape, really big pickup.
Yeah, and immediately Forge Fired as well.
Yes. Is that what it's called? Forge Fire? I thought it was called Masterwork.
It's Forge Fire Cape.
Oh, you mean the upgrade?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Oh, right, yeah. The Ornn's actual Forge. I don't actually know what it's called. He's Living Forge, isn't it? That's his passive.
So, 3,000 gold advantage right now, almost, for DAMWON. Has the Lichbane picked up.
Yeah, Trinity Force. Just foregone. Oh, unfortunate.
Lichbane.
I think Nuguri will probably build into a Morellonomicon next as well, which is exactly not what you want, right? Because you want to be able to add the ornament.
You do want to be able to add the ornament. It's just so frustrating because as Viktor with your Chaos Storm and your Death Ray, you're one of the only champions that can reliably proc all the Grievous Wounds onto the opponent against the Soraka heals.
Yeah, exactly.
But Griffin are finding themselves in honestly a really rough spot. And we sort of are starting to see some of the effects of the Qiyana on that R5, where even though Ucal did a really good job at keeping up in terms of CS, he was sort of confined to the lane, couldn't really do anything, and now we start asking ourselves the question, well, what does the Qiyana do in this team composition other than try to use Jarvan's Cataclysm Wall against itself?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really add up all that much. We see him split pushing up there in top lane trying to get a turret.
He's at least going to be able to do a fair bit of damage there and can play a split push game pretty effectively even without teleport. Moby Boot's going to be helping out there, and especially if he stays top lane, will be around at least the Baron pit here. Going to be spawning in a minute's time as we are cresting the 19-minute mark very soon. Tarzan continuing to be a little bit piggy very effectively. This was, we had his stats up on screen, but this was a champion that Tarzan could, like, you know how there's memes about Jankos, like, just always being on Sejuani duty? It was like Tarzan just wanted it at all times.
I mean, maybe he likes to ride the board.
Yeah, well, looks like that could definitely be the case, because, yeah, off-meta Sejuani picks have certainly been no stranger to good old Tarzan. And he hasn't been George. He's been pretty kingly thus far. He'll need to certainly demonstrate that a lot more as we move into the mid to late game. Got Last Whisper done for Ucal, but I don't know whether that is necessarily going to be enough to allow this Qiyana to get much work done against notably the Ornn, but of course the Jarvan as well, building a lot of armor. And Hoyt, he's even got a Glacial Shroud and a Quaff armor, so he's starting to get a little bit of that armor stacked up as well.
ShowMaker now up in top lane here. Sword gonna be the only one currently defending the turret. Tarzan's gonna end up coming over. But again, there's no ornament items on the side of DAMWON, and so it's so surprising when teams will end up picking Ornn and then not build items that would have been for free. Had Nuguri just foregone the Lich Bane, with the amount of gold that he's probably pulling right now, he could have Rabadon's Death Cap.
Yeah, exactly. And Rabadon's would have been actually pretty fantastic as an item just before picking up his Morellos.
Yes.
Meaning that the Chaos Storm will be hurting for a heck of a lot, as Sword has to flash, gets out of the Cataclysm. Had a stopwatch, elected for the flash instead of putting that one in its broken state. And this CS advantage for Nuguri is only continuing.
Yeah.
He's down towards the bottom side now. Going to be answered by Ucal. The back's going to come in. We'll see where Nuguri's going to be building next as he goes home. Mercury Tread's done for ShowMaker. That was his last back timing. Couple of amp tomes. This is what Nuguri puts together.
And the game is just in a locked ping pong state right now. We have we got 2 kills here, Atlus.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be 2 per 10 minutes, so we're behind a couple of kills right now. We are owed.
Jinx it right now.
Well, I mean, I just did. So
do it.
Let's see whether the teams are actually going to do anything here. As ShowMaker says, oh, that's an enemy champion. I should move away from them. This is not a PvP game. It's nuclear. Take that last minion and walk away.
Do you know what I really want to see?
What do you really want to see?
I really want to see a 60-minute 0-kill game once.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's extraordinary.
With all inner tier 2 turrets still up.
It's going to feel like people are just watching another episode of the Pog State, actually. Like,
we're only going to analyze the game. We're even going to swap roles. We're going to double color at that point.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
Like the old promised land of Papa and Monte Cristo together. Did a few games of LCK back in the day together.
Well,
yeah, don't know whether this is necessarily the game for that, though. As that's just a Cataclysm on top of Ucal, but he dashes out. That is something that Qiyana certainly can do.
No,
now, Nuguri deals with this inner turret, and slowly but surely DAMWON are extending their lead. That is happening. It's now Tarzan taking a bit of damage, but otherwise he is going to be okay. Taxis his way out. ShowMaker headbutts the wall.
Like watching an aging process.
It is a little bit. Hasn't been sped up, though, for our viewing pleasure, which is a little bit unfortunate.
I feel like I'm watching food mold right now. That's actually...
We're watching blue cheese be constructed.
Yeah, exactly.
Beautiful.
That is, I do believe, what is going on.
That's Flag and Drag out there for Canyon. Back to come in. Glorious Qiyana. The Louis Vuitton is... That's just going to be the third Drake for DAMWON to be picked up without any contest, because we don't contest things around here. That's not what we're about. In the Griffin camp, who are just happy to fall further and further behind because they think their composition just outscales. So they're just going to do that. But do you know what Ocean Soul, especially Triple Ocean Soul is?
Tell me about it.
That's just called having a Soraka as your sixth player.
I mean, this is honestly, you know that GIF of the guy that like he taps his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I've got the secret.
Yeah, I got the sickest. I got the sickest idea. You don't need to draft Soraka when you can just get Ocean Soul.
Yeah. See? plan for the Ocean Soul. I was watching the dive. I'm sorry, I was cheating on the POG state, but I was watching the dive, and they were having a discussion about. There was a question sent in by one of their viewers, which was, if you knew what kind of Dragon Soul was going to happen each game, would that change the drafting process?
Of course.
And I think for Ocean Soul especially, I think it absolutely would.
Well, I mean, this is a game where DAMWON, they just knew that they were simultaneously both B1ing Ornn and Soraka.
See?
And we're not psychics.
Yeah, we weren't enough.
So that's why our launch latitude places us here and not on the stage.
Yeah, I mean, as far as longitude, latitude is concerned, it's very close. But
it is, but are you in the player chair right now?
Absolutely not.
I think so, Atlus.
Yeah. Certainly wouldn't be on the winning team, I assure you of that.
And here we are. I mean, we're molding.
Yeah, well, where's the I want molten, not molding, okay? We're molding
edge.
and molten. The molding edge is going to be constructed as soon as ShowMaker wanders on over there. I believe he still has that upgrade available to him. Currently towards the top side, needs to go down towards his side.
Oh, man.
Yeah, well, it's very, very confusing. As Tarzan has been caught out of position, Irove trying to get on over here, but the Ornn has been called. The knock-up, ShowMaker makes him brittle, smacks him in half.
The Soraka ult coming in after he died, that's really...
I didn't even notice! Oh my god, man.
There is no greater cherry on top.
Oh. Oh. No. Well, Baron's been started, LS. And maybe this will awaken Griffin from their slumber. But without a jungler, I'm just not sure they have any way of contesting. So Baron is going to go over to DAMWON. And look, Griffin had a great draft. They managed to get the Soraka. They have this composition. The Qiyana doesn't make a lot of sense, but it doesn't really matter because you picked Soraka. You passed the test. But you still have to play the League of Legends. And that part of the checkbox is not quite being cleared yet. Like, you know how most of the time when you're signing up for an account somewhere, they say you have to go back and check the checkbox because you haven't done it if in case you forget? Unfortunately, they got to the next screen and they hadn't actually ticked the box of we're going to play League of Legends. Because there's been a lot of just like conceding everything around this map so far.
Okay, so DAMWON has gotten 3 kills in 2 games so far.
There we go. And they're winning the second one, which is the most surprising part.
They are winning the second one. They have a 7,000 gold lead. They have Baron right now. They're going to eventually convert this into Ocean. And Griffin, here we go. Now they're going to make their last stand.
Yeah, well, I mean, Griffin have them right where they want them, obviously, because they've been electing into this style of play throughout the entire
I just really have no idea what this game was, or honestly, what is going on. I mean, welcome to the LCK, aka literally can't kill. It's a league.
League
South
stalled.
Korea.
League stalled. Yeah.
It honestly, if you asked me to turn off the nameplates and take away the teams, I would say that they're not on voice comms. I would say that's a possibility.
We're going for a deep flank here. As Tarzan is behind enemy lines. Great ward there. He's going to spot it out. Plus Hoyt's here. He's trying to stop Tarzan from getting on in. This Nexus turret's going to go down. Good Knight Sword, but he's going to go golden for the moment. Ornn comes in. Wish comes out. Sword survives for a lot longer than you otherwise would expect, but DAMWON just take down the Unicorn in the end. Ucal finally gets in there as Tarzan does take down Canyon, but that Chaos Storm did one hell of a lot of damage, and now Hoyt looking to tie everyone up. Ucal, I think, pressed a couple of buttons, but it wasn't really enough as a double kill comes in for the Xayah, and we are going to go to a game 3. I think this game started at around 27 minutes, and Griffin, they picked the Soraka, they passed that test, but otherwise, not really too many tests being passed here today. 11,000 gold, the ending lead as DAMWON do pick up 6 kills to the 2 offered up by Griffin. That is going to be a 3-game series here for our first one today.